The Rams taking on the Seattle Seahawks up at, was it Qualcomm? What is it called anymore, Kyle? Changed like 16 names. What's
Yeah, I don't know. Just the wet place in Seattle. I don't know.
Yeah, exactly. The wet place in Seattle
There was
won't
a
be that
time I
wet
knew
tonight.
all the stadium names, but now they change the names so often it's hard to keep track.
All the time they change now. But let's take a look tonight. Pinnacle opened up offshore -1 for the Rams. FanDuel here in New Jersey opened up -1 for the Rams. Across the board now, the primary number, 2 offshore at Pinnacle, 2.5 here at New Jersey. There's some 2 still hanging out there at DraftKings. So if you want the number under 3, you are going to get that. So we're also waiting tonight, Kyle, on some of the injury information that might be coming out. What I mean by Chris Carson at running back. If he doesn't play, that is a key cog out of that offense that's not going to help Russell Wilson tonight. You also take a look at the Rams. What did you like on Sunday about the Rams? Absolutely nothing. But you did hear Sean McVay say, hey, man, it's really nice that we actually get to go on the road this week. We don't have to wait 7 days. We can get that bad taste out of our mouth. We'll see if that happens. Last week, as we take a look at the Seattle Seahawks when they went up against the 49ers, didn't have to do much. It was 7-7 at the break. They weren't doing relatively anything. They caught a punt return fumble inside the red zone, cashed that in. Backup quarterback, rookie quarterback Trey Lance comes in. Not all that effective outside of one blown coverage play, which went 75 yards. I thought Seattle did look decent in that game, putting away the 49ers on the road. Different opponent tonight. You better come with your A game tonight to face Matthew Stafford and that offense. So if I'm looking at this game right now, obviously most of the bets coming in here on the Rams. The line is moving in the Rams direction. So if you were to bet Seattle, the same way we had it on Monday, Kyle, right? You're waiting for that 3 price. I don't know if it gets there, but the interesting thing for me in this game, for a lot of trigger points, is Chris Carson in or out tonight.
Yeah, I think that's a huge factor. And another key is, there were some questions how Darrell Henderson would respond to the short week, full participant in practice, and he's going to play. The reason that's important is Seattle has just struggled against the running game, against running backs in general. They're allowing the 3rd most fantasy points to opposing running backs. Darrell Henderson, when he plays, he's also a key figure in that passing game. His last 2 games that he played, 11 targets in those 2 games, about 60 yards, 56 yards receiving in those 2 contests. So him being a part of the action is key. And for the Seahawks, listen, on the perimeter, they're going to have Sidney Jones and DJ Reed trying to deal with the receivers on the perimeter. If the Rams are able to run the ball and the Seahawks continue to struggle against the run and Matthew Stafford's able to go to that play action game and they're forced to bring those safeties up, it's going to be really tough for those corners on the outside to deal with these Rams receivers. I will say Amadi in the slot has been very, very good. So it's a little bit of a tougher matchup tonight for Cooper Kupp than we've seen in past weeks, Byron Murphy, etc. But for me right now, I think the better offense is the Rams. The healthier offense is certainly the Rams. You mentioned Chris Carson. That's a huge loss. Alex Collins will most likely be the guy, and you'll see some Travis Homer sprinkled in for some pain plays, if you will, in DFS. But right now, I just see the advantage on the defensive side of the ball to the Rams. I see the advantage on the offensive side of the ball to the Rams, and they're healthy. Do we like taking road teams on short weeks, especially in a place like Seattle? It's never the greatest feeling, but I'm getting this under a field goal. I made it part of my pick 6 contest. I took the Rams -2.5. I think they get it done tonight.
Yeah, pick 6 contest for myself. I have the Rams at -1, so we'll see if that plays out tonight. I do think they win. This goes against the strategy, which is usually for me, home team or no team, but I just think the Rams are the better overall team, as you said. Now, last week, if you watched that 49ers game, particularly in the second half when Trey Lance came in, the front 4 was getting a lot of pressure for Seattle on that offensive line for the San Francisco 49ers. But this is an elite offensive unit, particularly the offensive line for the Rams. I don't think you're going to have that same luxury. And Matthew Stafford is not a rookie quarterback where you're just trying to scare him in the pocket and fly around him as much as you can so he breaks, contain, and runs. That's not Matthew Stafford's style. The weapons are healthy for the Rams tonight. I trust the Rams defense more. I trust the Rams coaches more, and I trust the overall Rams scheme more than I do for Seattle. Now, granted, if you are going to take the Seattle Seahawks, then if you're going to bet against primarily, Kyle, right, you take the Rams and you go against them. Russell Wilson's going to make plays. That's what he does. You saw it last week, Kyle, with your 49ers game. He was dead, sacked in the pocket, spun out, I have no idea, throws a dart 25 yards to the corner of the end zone. I believe Swain caught that one. And it's like, man, that was covered up. That's a sack. You get off the field, and it leads to a touchdown. That's what Russell Wilson does. That's what we call the luck box in Seattle. How many times can you see him buried in the pocket, roll out, throw a jump ball 45 yards downfield, tipped around and, oh, yeah, the Seattle Seahawks are first and goal at that point. It happens quite a bit. But I'm with you, and this is breaking, again, a trend that I usually take. I think the Rams are the better team. I'm going to buck that trend of the home team or no team on Thursday Night Football. I think the Rams get it done tonight, and I'm with you. I did take the -1 with the Rams. Now, also, let's with the -1. So, obviously, anything under 3, because most people, hey, Donnie, do you like the game under 3? Sure, I do. If they win they should be able to win by a field goal tonight. But looking at the total, it's dropping, Kyle. 54.5s were available primarily across the board yesterday. 53.5 now at FanDuel. Still 54 offshore Pinnacle, but some of the New Jersey outlets, DraftKings, Bet365, PointsBet, looks like they're showing 53.5, so it's coming down. And I do actually agree with that. Not because I don't think, Kyle, both of these teams can score, but the simple fact is they know each other. It's a short trip up from, L.A. up to Seattle, but also keep in mind, it's a short work week. Not a lot of practice, not a lot of preparation time. Those games tend to be a little bit more of a struggle, but also in Seattle tonight, as we always talk about the weather, 55 degrees, a little bit on the cooler side, but light winds and no precipitation tonight.
Yeah, I agree too. And I thought about that total, but it feels just about right, doesn't it? And you don't want to get caught holding the bag in one of these tough divisional games between two good teams. Now, we've seen it where it flies over and we expect it to go under. That Washington Giants game stands out like a sore thumb. They went way over, and two defenses we expected to play well. Look, the Rams defense, for as good as they are on paper, they have shown some holes. Certainly Arizona exposed them a little bit last week. We saw the Colts put up 24 points on them. It's not like they're just shutting everyone down. The days of the 2000 Ravens and the 2002 Buccaneers and 85 Bears, where defenses just shut off. That just doesn't happen anymore. There's no defense like that. The game is not designed that way. So I would sort of lean the over here, but for me, I won't touch it. It seems that number seems really sharp and right on the line. I prefer the Rams -2.5 over that total. I did have some consideration paying down on the juice and taking the Rams over 26.5. In that -140, 145 range. I do think that that's a feasible. It might have even moved to 155 today. I haven't looked today, but I did consider that Rams. I do think they can get to 27 points. I mean, would it shock you if this game was 27-24? It wouldn't shock me. So I do lean the Rams here. I took them in the pick six contest. If we want to talk about a couple of props that I like, there's not a lot of props that I do like, honestly. I took the Darrell Henderson over 20.5 yards receiving. Look, 11 targets his last two full games that he's played, 56 receiving yards in those two games. I think he can get there tonight, especially if Amadi's going to make things tough on Cooper Kupp. He's been one of the better slot corners through the first 4 weeks. We know that's who Stafford likes to go to when things get tough, is Cooper Kupp. If he's not going to be available, Darrell Henderson should see those dump-offs, and he can get 21 yards on one dump-off, so I do like that. I also like the Darrell Henderson anytime touchdown at -111. I think that makes a ton of sense as well, and we're looking for those odds boosts. I'm going back to this, and I know it's let us down a time or two, but I really like this one today, and maybe my counterpart here gets a little bit of credit for this even being available. We've got Matthew Stafford and Russell Wilson to each record one passing touchdown in each half.
Amazing.
Plus 500, like you could see a world where both quarterbacks throw a touchdown pass in the first and second half,
quarter.
Right? Yeah. So all you got to do is, I mean, the first half ones are the ones you really sweat out, because in the second half, when the game's on the line and these teams start going at a frantic pace, especially if it's close, you expect them both to get a touchdown pass as well. So that's my favorite odds boost. Stafford and Wilson to each record one passing touchdown boosted in each half, boosted to plus 500.
Yeah, I went one-on-one of those last week for some decent money. The first one was the Philadelphia Eagles and the Kansas City Chiefs, which was Mahomes and Hurts 1-1. They end up getting that, even though it was a struggle because Jalen Hurts threw 19 touchdowns, but 17 of them got called back in that game. But then you flipped it over in the Rams game versus Arizona. They hit it in the first quarter of that, but they only got one in the second half, which I thought I had a good chance at that because the Cardinals had a couple shots, but they handed the football off inside the 5. Hopefully that's not the case tonight, but it's a great one here. This is now a passing league. This is no longer a running league. These teams get to the 2-yard line. It used to be like, hey, 3 plays, run it right up the middle, and we're going to score a touchdown. That isn't the case anymore. It's roll out of the pocket. It's throw daggers. Quarterbacks want stats, and they get them. 5-1 price on that one is sensational. I do also have a couple prop bets that I like as well. Feeding off of that, Russell Wilson to throw 1.5 touchdown passes or more, which means obviously 2 or more touchdown passes tonight. That's at a 148. He can throw 1 in the first half, 1 in the second half, 2 in the first half, none in the first half, 2 in the second half. He just needs 2 to cash in that ticket. It's a little bit juicy, but it's actually down from this morning from -154 to -148. Also, I call it like that boost light here, because Matthew Stafford's going to throw touchdown passes tonight. That's just what they do. him to throw one touchdown pass in the first half and at least one in the second half, that's plus money as well. But the simple fact that they boosted plus 360 to plus 500 on two good quarterbacks that will be slinging it tonight, the total's not 37.5, and one of the guys is a rookie. These are two all-pro caliber quarterbacks in a game lined around 54 points with no rainy conditions in the forecast and a fast track. I'll take my chance on that. Also, Kyle, some other shots here. Touchdown props. I mean, we can all go, hey, Cooper Kupp's going to catch one, or if Chris Carson plays, he's going to score a touchdown, or, some of the, whatever, some of the big DK Metcalf. I'm going to go Van Jefferson, who has 2 touchdowns on the season, has seen his targets increase from like 3 a game over the first 2 to 6 a game over the last 2. 2 games, 4 touchdowns. For him to score tonight, it's plus 240 for a touchdown. I'll go with a little bit longer shot on here on an anytime score there. Any other prop bets that you're looking at tonight in the Seattle game?
That was really it for me. I actually considered Van Jefferson's receiving yards as well. Remember, he's going to be on the perimeter 75% of his offensive snaps. So he's going to see DJ Reed or Sidney Jones, who are giving up completions on 21 and 24% of their targeted routes or defensive routes that they're running that are passing plays. Also giving up 0.41 and 0.47 fantasy points per route ran against. The advantage tonight is on the perimeter in that Seattle defense and running the football. If they're running the ball effectively, one play fake here, a guy like Van Jefferson, or if you even want to get crazier and go for that deep shot, Deshaun Jackson's always there for that one big play. Of course, if he does catch that, when he finally does get that one super deep touchdown here in prime time, he'll be injured for the rest of the year. That'll be his final play. But those are, those long shot touchdowns on deep balls, especially when you're struggling against the run and you have 2 beatable perimeter corners, are certainly viable. The other one I considered was Matthew Stafford over 2.5 passing touchdowns. The only thing that scared me a little bit is how bad the Seahawks are against the run. You worry that Henderson's going to poach a couple of those touchdowns in the red zone.
Yeah, it'll be interesting here. Sean MCK saying Wilson 1.5 touchdowns now, minus 138 at bet 365. It's a good bet. Like if Russell Wilson doesn't throw 2 touchdown passes, they get smoked in this game. So even if the Rams are bringing in on offense, you're not going to be running the football in the second half. And again, it's a passing league. Russell Wilson to throw 2 touchdowns. Come on. You know what I mean? He should be able to get that done. And we'll see if it plays out tonight. But it is a very good DFS game. A great game considered, I guess, probably expecting a lot of injuries in this game. And, oh, my goodness, there go my prop bets in the first half because Stafford busted up his shoulder in the second quarter. I hope none of that plays, because if everybody stays healthy in this game, I really think we're going to be able to cash some tickets, particularly on some of these fun prop bets that we have. But it looks like a good night tonight set up. I'm really looking forward to that 5-1 here at the FanDuel Sportsbook. It's a legitimate one. It's not, 5-1 usually kind of like a long shot. I don't know if that's going to hit. This is a really good chance to hit tonight.
Yes,
all you need, throw one apiece in the first half, and you are in play for that second half. It's always a lot of fun to watch. So we'll have some fun with that stuff here. Akbar says the Rams team total over 26 at Caesars is minus 160. He says he loves that. I do think we get some points in this game. I do not have a team total wager, but again, pick 6 contest. I do think the Rams pick up the win on the road, and I do think we can get some touchdown passes out of both of these quarterbacks.